So now we won't be like covering this today. That's fine.
Mm.
But we
Yeah.
will be definitely doing this part of MVC helpers, HTML helpers,
Mm.
because this is the UI part, the card operation I will be doing via UI.
Yeah.
And the next week we'll start with library management and the entity framework. So
Mm.
just a sneak peek of it is that we won't be writing any stored proc or anything. Basically,
Mm.
we people who use entity framework are generally those who don't know backend much.
Mm.
They don't
Mm.
want to
Oh.
work in backend. They
Mm.
don't want to write any stored proc. They don't want to work in tables. And
Uh-huh.
entity
Mm.
framework basically gives you a framework by which you don't have to write anything. You don't
Mm.
have to think
So,
about tables and everything. Everything will be
yeah.
done by entity framework.
So, do you think the marketing more on the entity framework, the other
It
side
it
is more?
it depends. It depends. It totally depends on the company and the product they
Mm.
are building.
Mm.
Because what entity frameworks, one of the biggest drawback with entity framework is it doesn't give you control.
Mm.
Like the
Mm.
biggest thing is everything is hidden from you. So sometime you
Mm.
want to do some kind of very weird stored procedure, some kind of
Mm.
operation that is not directly possible. You want to do some kind of outer very different complicated scenario. Then entity
Mm.
framework, because it's hiding everything from you, you won't be able
Mm.
to write that customized stored proc. You have to somehow
Okay.
tweak the
Yeah.
framework so that it uses
Mm.
that proc. But then
Mm.
it becomes very messy because you are mixing a SQL server with the entity framework.
Mm.
So either
Mm.
people then in such cases we would generally prefer, because if they're building like a very big module, it's a very huge module, then they will somewhere face the problem of having
Mm.
customizations.
Mm.
In that case,
Okay.
generally company prefer that we build our own DAL layer with our
Mm.
own functions, and so that we can handle it whenever we want in a very customized manner.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But if
Mm.
if some product is some module is like that, it has specific operations, it
Mm.
has very specific specification as to how is going to build that software. Then entity framework is perfect because it increases your build time. Like
Mm.
it
Mm.
makes things very fast, because I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about stored proc. My application is going to be up very fast and it's very stable. It's by default very stable. It
Mm.
won't break if you have written it very right in a right manner. If you define all the models right, it'll never break.
Mm.
So you
So
see the
you have been working in which side more actually, in the entity way or the other
Oh
side?
yeah, I was working in the Dell side only. Entity
That
framework,
side.
we don't prefer it because otherwise it's the same thing, because we have to do a lot of customization, and
Mm.
it's not a good
Mm.
site to start with, because we
Mm.
from the beginning knew that we will have a very complicated, because I used to work in finance industry and they
Mm.
have very huge data warehouses.
Oh, that is in
So
India.
that's in India, yeah. So that
Mm.
with data warehouses, in order to fetch the data from data warehouse, I have to do a lot of manipulation in a stored proc.
Mm.
That becomes very customized. Like it's very difficult to do that inside an entity framework. We have to write a very different classes and all do a lot of list operations and everything.
Mm.
So it becomes
Mm.
very complicated.
Ah.
So they,
Mm.
they, they knew that from the beginning. So they like removed initially they started with entity framework, but then as soon as we go on, we realize that this is becoming very tedious for us.
Mm.
Even a
Mm.
small change requires a lot of changes in the classes. So
Mm.
which should
Okay.
be which should be like ideally decoupled. So that's why people prefer having a DAL layer. But this is
Mm.
something which is very nice. Like when you see it working, you'll realize that I don't have to even think about database anymore.
Mm. Mm.
It like it just separates you from the database side. Everything will be created on your behalf, and it's very decent, very nice framework.
Mm.
Knowing it, then you like once you know it, you realize that why like there's a choice here. Like either I will go with the HTML like a DAL framework or entity framework. I have to decide. But
Okay. Ah.
knowing
Mm.
both the things makes sense, because it's the kind of thing which is very mature. It's very stable.
Mm.
It doesn't break.
Mm. Okay.
If you connect it right, it'll never break. So you can think about the stability your application will be on.
Okay.
So
Ah.
sometime your application is mission critical, like it's application which is a banking application.
Mm.
You can't really have a single failure on the transaction or a stored proc. It's not
Mm.
possible. Otherwise, your account will be debited and credited in a very wrong way.
Mm. Mm.
Such application requires a very high extreme amount of stability. They will definitely go with this framework, no matter how complicated it is.
Oh, they will go with the framework.
And yeah, entity framework, because
Mm.
writing a DAL layer and having own stored proc increases the chance of breakage, right? You can write a
Ha ha
very
ha.
weird stored proc and it'll break apart, and then your transaction will be stuck in
Mm.
between.
Mm.
So they definitely want to go with a very mature framework. So
So
in
that
that case,
means probably small organization chance is more to go with the DAL layer. The
it's
bigger organization like bank, big transaction cases?
Yeah, so see, it depends on the application. Even for a very large organization, they might be building a tool related to money. So it totally depends on application, what application demands. If application is mission critical, it's a term. So it's like application which shouldn't break at any cost. Otherwise, there will be a very huge impact. So in that case, we
Yeah.
really rely on something which is already built upon by Microsoft
Mm-mm.
rather than building our own framework. So
Mm-mm.
in those applications, it could happen anywhere, even for a small organization or large organization, anywhere. It could happen that
Mm.
there's a part of application which is very important. Like you
Mm.
can think about authentication. Authentication should never fail. Like when I'm logging in, I should always log
Mm.
in without any breakage. So
Mm.
that in that
Mm.
case, I can for that particular module, I can plug entity framework. So that's how the modularity works. If I'm building a
Mm.
module, I can use any kind of framework for that specific module. It doesn't
Mm.
mean my entire application is going to run on on that framework.
Mm.
Maybe I build that model which is very critical, so that uses entity framework. Other models are using DAL layer. It's possible.
Okay. Mm.
But entity framework comes into picture from the perspective that I don't want to work on backend one, and second,
Mm.
I
Mm.
don't have very huge customizations. I have basic
Mm.
classes, and those classes are enough.
Got it. Yeah.
It'll be wrong to say that entity framework can't do something which DAL layer can do. Entity framework can do everything that a DAL layer can.
Mm.
It
Mm.
just sometimes things become very complicated, then you have to work around with the classes. And as you
Mm.
can think about that, in a data warehouse, there could be like 100 tables, each having a
Yes.
individual
Mm.
joins and foreign keys, right? That
Yeah.
means you will have 100 classes in your project, which is very
Mm.
difficult to think upon and go upon one by one. So like
Mm.
100 class nesting in an entity's format becomes very difficult, tedious to work upon.
Mm.
Getting a
Mm.
single object, I have to go deep down the layer of 100 classes and get that out. But in a stored proc, I can just do an inner joins or multiple statement and get that out. It
Mm.
becomes very easy on stored proc and becomes very complicated. But it's not. It'll be wrong to say it's not possible. It's definitely possible.
Mm.
So
Mm.
you'll see that in a very like I'll create a new application altogether, and we will be
Mm.
looking at the NT framework completely from scratch
Mm.
because it requires some kind of installation configuration and everything. So we'll be looking at that. But yeah, we'll look
Mm.
on Friday so that you'll be able to catch up everything. If you want
Mm.
to catch up everything, then it'll be difficult for you to grab because everything is hidden from you. It'll be difficult
Mm.
for you to think about how that thing worked because the
Mm.
framework won't show you. It won't
Yeah.
even
Good.
give you any hint that how I did that. I just did that. I know that. But you will get an idea. Oh, I did that using my own hands. That's how this guy must be working.
Okay. Yeah.
So today we'll be covering the HTML helpers. This is like
Mm.
very important in case of Razor pages. So every
Mm.
CRUD operation, any kind of form, any kind of UI manipulation I want to do
Mm.
upon, I'll be using these HTML helpers. So
Okay.
first let's see where our application was. Then we'll start doing those CRUD operation. So HTML helper basically is the way of writing HTML, but in a C# format. So because you already know that I was working on Razor pages, so
Mm.
all these pages were Razor pages, right? That's
Yeah. Yeah.
HTML. So
Mm.
definitely I want to maybe add a text box or a checkbox or an input box,
Mm.
some way by which user can write on my thing and submit and give me back that data.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm not using any kind of HTML helper as of now. But if you look at the layout, then you will see some HTML helpers.
Mm.
So it's yeah. So this you can see that HTML @HTML action link. You see, this is one of the HTML helper that is able to give you a link by which I can go at a particular controller at a
Mm.
particular function and gives me a name. So this guy
Yeah.
phone book is a HTML helper, and if when I
Mm.
click on it, it goes to home controller index function.
Mm.
That's what I've defined it. There's a name that's going to show on UI phone book. Then index is the function name and home is the
Mm.
controller name. If you hover on it, you'll see what's the format: string link text, string action name, string controller name. You can see. So
Yeah.
it
Mm.
defines a way by which I can define a link. So I don't,
Mm.
and you can think about it that this guy renders as a anchor tag in an HTML. So anchor
Mm.
tags are the way by which you define link in an HTML. So if I just see the inspect thing, you'll see this as a anchor tag now. You see anchor tag.
Mm.
So in HTML to define links, you create an anchor tags, but because I am working on a vanilla HTML, a CS HTML, I can use the help of HTML at the rate to create that for me automatically.
Mm.
So using these kind of construct, I can define HTML in a very advanced manner, where I
Okay.
define a route in which I want. Like I want a action and a controller driven route, right? I want to go at a particular controller at a particular action. Then rather than writing a @anchor tag, because in that case you have to learn HTML, you have to know the concepts of HTML. But this helps you, this HTML helpers gives you an idea that you can use my help and I can build it for you. And it becomes very like critical when you're building like a interface kind of application where I have to use a lot of data from the model. So we'll look at that. But this is the kind of starting the initial hint. We'll be using action link a lot because that's how you're gonna navigate your entire application. You have to go back, go forth. You go to users, go to phone book. So this becomes very like it's very important HTML helper.
Okay.
And you can see there's no other HTML helper as such here. But these are like scripts render and render section. We'll be looking at this when we go to like this becomes very important when we are working on an SPA application, single page application, because then we have to worry about those scripts, those Java scripts. Right now, because I'm working on MVC, so these scripts are already been added for me, and those are not that important. Those are just there for working for an MVC in a perfect manner. But I don't really care about JavaScript right now. I have to work on C#, so I'll focus on the MVC part only. So in the index page, you can, as you remember that I am taking user model as my model. So this is a strongly typed model, and I was building a users and the corresponding phone book records. So these were the users, the list of users, and and every user will have multiple phone book like contacts. So Alice has Bob and Michael inside Alice. So first thing I'll do is I'll add a CURD operation on user list. So you can think about adding a username and a text box with a submit button. That's like a basic form. So that's nothing but it's just a HTML form. So how HTML take input from UI is they have this concept of HTML forms. So if you want to go in detail, you can just search for HTML forms and you'll get W3 schools. These are like the initial hints. So they have this documentation of entire HTML thing. So this is a basic HTML form. I put a text box and put a submit button. When I click on submit, what happens is it, given all the data that I have written here, it posts back everything to my server.
Yeah.
So we'll do the same. We'll see the same thing that it's posting back the data to my control. And this time we'll be using some concept of MVC so that everything is pre-filled inside my class. I don't have to worry about those things. I'll be just get an entire class and I can use that. So we'll be looking at that direction also.
Yeah.
First, let's try to create a controller, like create a UI for that. So let's just stop this. And in the index part, let's add a new div where I'll be adding the actions. So I'll just add a div. Could have any class. So right now I'm adding actions. And if you see carefully, as I do class equal to, I see multiple classes. Right? These are all bootstrap classes. So by default, an MVC project will have a bootstrap. Bootstrap is basically a styling styling framework. If you've gone through this, so this is a bootstrap is a styling framework. It provides some predefined classes by which I can style my application in a nice manner. But right now we won't worry about this. We will be looking at this when we go to library management application. Right now I'm just creating my own random classes. So I'll just write it actions. And in actions I have to first define a create view, right? So let's just do create new user, new header. And inside a header I want a username tag and a corresponding where should it go to. So if I write vanilla HTML, then I can just say label username and input type text and name username. Right? It will take my input type for me, and I can and right now I'm not wrapping it inside like this is a username, so it will create that. But you can imagine that if I have to do all this by myself, then I have to connect this with my controller, I have to connect this with my model, and I have to manage everything on my own. Then there's no help coming from me from a model via MVC side. If I'm writing vanilla HTML, there's no point. I'm actually moving right now. That means I'm actually moved to a MVC, a single page application. Because I have the power of CSS, why not I use Razor help to
Yeah.
build all this, write this for me. So because I know I'll be working on a form, so let's not do that. Let's do in a right manner. Before doing that, let's go to our user model. And because I know that I will be inserting a user data in my user
Yeah.
model, so I don't have any kind of a way to provide that in my as my a way by which I can define those models. My user model has a list, but there's no specific user data thing. So as a way by which, because I'm already passing my anti-user model, so I can just say that for a particular insertion, deletion, viewing, I can just say that user data and maybe um, a new user. This new user can also be prefilled for edit. This can also be used for delete. But this is the kind of class that I'll be using by which, because this is the object which will be passed to me in my function. So I have to
Okay.
somehow define, I have to somehow tell my form that use this as your way of working around. So you'll see that how I'm going to use it, because I know my index is using a tightly bound. Generally, we don't work like this. We have a breakage kind of models. So I'll show you that after this. First, we are just trying to do everything in single page. Then I'll break it into multiple pages, and you'll see that we have different models at different pages. So now I want to create a form to create this user. So I can use the help of take the help of HTML helpers. So using HTML dot begin form. You see, I'm not writing HTML now. I'm using help of Razor, and that's what's
Yeah.
important, because I have to define routes, and routes are difficult to define if you're doing manually. So if I use begin form, so it gives me multiple ways to define. You see, there's a string action name, controller name, and form method. So this is exactly what I want. I want to go to a particular controller at a particular function and give my data, whatever I get from UI. So this helps me in a way of defining those kind of construct. So my action name could be create. My controller could be home, because there's only one controller, and my method, form method, will be post, because every time I do a submit button, I'll be posting. That's how the form works. They have this post kind of thing, and they post everything to the UI, to the server, that this is it I got from UI. This is one way. Even if I don't write this
Create is the function and home is the controller.
controller, yeah. So inside
Form
of home,
method form method is the post the action.
yeah, action. So what kind of thing I want from UI. So mostly when we use form, we definitely use post. So this is by default. Even if I don't write it, it will be there, but just for the show purposes, I'm writing it right now. But post is like by default way of, that's how you post data. You get data from form and you post it on the UI, on the server side. That's how the post works. And
Okay.
even if I don't write this create home post, then in that case, this index HTML knows that I am running from a home controller. Then it will post back to the home controller at an index function then. But right now I'm using a different function, so I am defining a different action. I can even miss that controller part out, because it is running on a home, so it definitely posts back on home. But right now, just to be sure that exactly what it wants, so I know exactly now that it's going to go at home controller at a create function with a post method kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's the starting of my form. Now what I'll do is, because as you have seen, I have in my user model, I have like a new object, which is new user, right? That will help me to create form like in a very decent way. So I'll say HTML. I'll use HTML helper again. Dot label for. So you see label for. So these are the way by which I can define label. So I'll just say model dot. So new user dot. Now I want a label for username. So it would automatically create that username label for me. And next what I can do is HTML dot text box for, because I want a text box. And I'll create a text box for this guy again. Model dot new user dot username. This is inside form. Everything is inside form. And then I can say that just input type submit value submit.
Yeah, 1 second. The
Yeah.
previous time we were doing like a toolbox drag and drop and putting this one, correct? The
Which one?
design. I mean the toolbox. We'll drag and drop the tools and put in the
Oh,
UI.
yeah. That was for the web forms, right?
Yeah.
You're talking
So
about
he,
forms. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So here, if you do like where, what is the difference here in in that case?
So,
If you do,
like the toolbox, see, right now,
uh,
eh, when you're using the toolbox of, web forms, you are actually using the web form C sharp construct, the classes, to
hmm,
render them. But right now,
ah,
I'm in MVC. I'm not using any kind of web forms. I'm not using any kind of those classes. I'm using a vanilla HTML.
so what is
I'm
advantage? What is advantage? Can you tell
advantage is
me?
biggest advantage is that that guy also renders to an HTML. This also
Hmm,
renders to an HTML, except that this won't take much time. It won't be complicated for model to render
hmm.
it into an HTML, because
Yeah,
I'm
it will be
right now,
faster.
yeah, exactly. I'm working on a pure real HTML,
Hmm,
and that's the like one of the biggest drawback of using web form, that they have already built their own controls.
hmm,
So user from a user developer side, I lose a lot of customizations. I can't add, like if I want to add classes, I won't do that. I can't add styles. I can't I have to do a lot of customizations to even
hmm,
make a single change, because that was
hmm,
written by Microsoft.
hmm, hmm,
But now we are using an HTML, so that is a open source library out there. It's how the
hmm,
whole world works. So
hmm.
so even if I'm not creating any kind of my control. I'm just building everything from scratch.
Okay.
But when I'm building everything from scratch, I have some kind of help from Microsoft,
Hmm,
because I'm using their model framework. So they're saying that if you're using model, then you can just use these kind of thing, so that when you post back, I'll map it to a right function, a right object.
hmm.
So that way it becomes very helpful.
Okay. Hmm,
Yeah,
hmm.
I think you're remembering toolbox from your web form that you drag drop
Yeah,
your text box, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm,
that was the old technology. That was how the people used to do. But
hmm,
if you
hmm,
remember, the UI doesn't look very nice in those web forms. It's
hmm,
how it
hmm,
stales. That you can't really change it. You can't really make it nice. But if I
hmm.
just add a bootstrap class here, then it'll look very nice right now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's as
Hmm,
easy as that, because the
hmm,
customization styling becomes very easy with HTML and CSS.
hmm.
So let's try to run this and see if it's working. Right now it can't really post in this function, because when I do a post, it will say that there's no function called create. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Hmm,
where you want me to post, but it should show me some kind of UI.
hmm,
And
hmm.
because I'm building it via model, so it should post me back that model. That's how it should work. So I can say username. You see, it automatically created a label for me. It created a text box for me and submit button, because I've created that by hand.
Hmm,
So the power of this is that if I write and do a submit, because I'm creating it via a model, so
hmm,
it should give me back as a class. So that's what I'll show you right now. That if I go create this create function, because I have a new action, so I'll just do
hmm,
public action result, and I'll say create. And because I'm defining this function by default, every
hmm,
function is for the get thing.
hmm,
But I want this function to work as a post. It shouldn't work to get something from the UI. It should only work when I post from the UI, right?
hmm.
So
Yeah.
I have to make it HTTP post. It's important. This is called
Hmm,
function declarations. It's like decorations over functions. So data
hmm.
annotations, that's what they are called. And this basically helps me to define what kind of function this is. So my function is kind of a force. So
Post. Yeah.
if I do my controller slash create, it won't work, because you can't really fetch it from browser, because that's a get request. I can
Hmm,
only post on this function. So I'll show you that. And when using create, because I am binding my form with a model, I should get user data here. That's like a good thing. That's what it gives you power over the whole process, because I'm binding my whole form using a method or a particular username and class. Should give me back that.
hmm,
And then what I can do is, because I'm using create right now, I'm gonna just uh, so that to see if it's working or not. So I'll use some kind of redirect to action. this, because see, the action result class is very generic here. If you look at this class, it contains a lot of things inside it. So if I go to this class plus F12, then you can see the inside of this action result class. So this class is like abstract. It's classes of all the result that function can give back. So they could be like lots and lots of result I can give back in UI, I can give back. I was giving view, right? This
Yeah.
result class is derived from action result. And now I'm returning an action, a kind of action. So I'm saying that whenever you do a create, return back, go back to the index function again. So every time I do a create, I'll go back to the index function. So let's see if we are able to get this user data when we do a post. Let's run this. So every time I do a post, my data should be pre-filled with that username and user ID, right? Because now let's write this name and do a submit. So my data should be filled with something if everything works fine. So let's see. It's not. You see, the username is not getting used by the model.
Yeah.
It should be ideally pre-filled, but it's not. So let's look at why it's not working the way it should. So I'll just give you a sneak peek that in a create user, I'm doing that user data thing only, but I've used that model thing. So if you look at my function carefully, where's that next? I'm using this model. This will show you some kind of way, but the thing is, I don't want to use my model. I want to work on this user model, right? So let's just try to change that. When I use M, I'll get this new user again and username. And maybe what one more thing that we are missing, even if this thing works, then my whole this whole page is bound via a user model, then a user data. So let's try this one, and then you'll see that why I'm showing you this, because you have to understand that what modeling and how we are getting data from the model to a action from UI. So these are something that you will also face, that I'm defining it, but I'm getting null there. So these are the way by which you can start debugging your application. So let's try this again. Let's see if we are getting it now. Oh, we haven't added the breakpoint. We are still not getting it. So there's a big chance that because our index CSHTML is on user model, so my form will also come back on user model. So if you look at this here, that this is my different CSHTML, right? It's on user data specifically, but my index is not on user data; it's on user model.
Yeah.
So there's a big chance that because I'm using the same model, I'm using the whole construct, so it can't directly give me back that user data. So let's try user model and see. Let's see if it maps that. You see what I'm trying to show you is that the way your model, you bound your view with the model, the similar thing is gonna try to work upon.
Okay. Yeah.
If your model is different, you're trying to pass something different on a function, it will behave weirdly. So let's try this. That's like the view binding concept. If you don't hit it right, then eventually you'll face problems. So you see, my now user is filled up enough. You get? Because the index view is binded with a user model, and I was just trying to pass a random class from between. It won't work like that. So the way the view was binded, the way it's gonna come back to me. But the only good thing that I'm sure about is I'll be pre-filled with the right thing. Because I'm connecting in a way that it's gonna pre-fill with the right thing. So if you look at my index CHSTML, I've connected in the right way. You see, I've written am username, so I'm basically connecting in the right way. So that every time I do a submit, I know my whole model will be filled with this.
Yeah.
You see, that's how it's working. So the way you define your model is the way you're gonna get it back on the UI on the server side.
Yeah.
Now let's quickly do a create so that we'll see. So we have to first see that whether we have a create proc or not. We don't have it, so let's just create procedure, create user, and in that I'm going to just pass a username as insert into user data. This is something like you'll be familiar now because
Yeah.
you must have done that.
Mm.
And that's it. We should work. Let's connect, and I have to first change this into test, otherwise going to be created on a different database. And let's run this. Great. So now when I'm running it, I can just do a new, because I have already have my Dell layer here. I can just create a manager. And my connection key was dbgon key. Right. And I'll say that manager dot execute stored procedure is create user, and I'll want a new list of SQL parameter with new SQL parameter. It takes multi-parameter name, so I'll just add username with data dot new user dot username, because this is what preferred from UI, right? And when this is executed, I just return back the index. So what I'm doing is I'm returning back the control back to the index. I'm just firing that go back to the index function and just fire back everything again. This is what return to redirect to index basically means. I'm setting the route to be new now. So what it does is it goes to my UI, my backend, write up enough on as a new record and comes back. So eventually when I come back to UI, I'll see a new user now. So add Abhinav. You see, Abhinav is added. It looks perfect because suddenly the page is reloaded now. As soon as I have to submit, the page is reloaded, so I get a new record. And because I'm firing a get again, index again, so this guy goes back to DB, get the users again, and renders the new view.
Yeah.
That's why you see a change which is very instant. Let's make it Bob2. So if I do a submit, posts is back. You see the page reload happened. You see something happened in the page reload. It goes is back, do this and reload the page to get Bob2. So that's create new user. Similarly, you can think of creating update and delete, right?
Yeah.
You can clearly think of creating a new update function and new delete function and doing the same operation. There'll be like a very nice activity. So I'm gonna leave that part because it'll be help you to understand. Oh, that's how the create is working, because it'll be same. It'll be exactly same the way I've written it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
I'll have a new function, and you have already worked on the procedure part, so it'll be easy for you to connect. I get a new function and put a post and do the thing. And but the difference between that is just you will have extra, like in the update function, you have to take user ID from input and a new username. So there'll be two text boxes.
Two text box. Yeah.
And then in the delete, then you have just the user ID. So that means this new user object that I created, it can be used for other parts also. I can use the same thing. I can write a new div here, and I can use the same thing again.
Okay.
I can use the same username again, right? So every time when I do a submit button, I'll get this new user pre-filled. That's what I was saying, that this new user will be helpful to get the data from UI. You can use the same object as a way to get the delete request, the delete user ID, and to get the new username, new user ID. You get what I'm trying to say? This object can be used again for all the other tasks.
Yeah.
Now one thing that I'm going to show is, so this was the first step, the action. So now similarly, I can just define h2 update user, and you can add your part here. And similarly H2, delete user. You can add your part here.
Mm.
Similarly, I can have another div which is called phone book action, because similarly I have to have this phone book thing, right?
Yeah.
This was for the users, but similarly I want to provide some kind of way to create phone book record also.
Mm.
That has to be some kind of UI. The problem with phone book action is, like, there's no problem, it's just from the UI perspective, is this thing is cluttered in a single place. Like phone book and user list are on a single page. I don't want that. I want to have a new page and a new view.
Mm.
So I'll create a new route and a new section altogether, so that I have phone book actions on a phone book page and user list action on a user list page. So that I'll try that I'll do right now. So in order to do that, you can imagine that if I'm going on a new page, I should have a new controller, because I will have a new route now, a new index HTML, everything will be new for me.
Mm.
So let's do an add and let's stop this. So this is the way by which you can see that how I will create a new controller and new view. So I'll add new controller and I'll create it empty. I won't be using any kind of template right now. And it will ask me for the name. So I'll say it's a phone book controller, because I want a new UI altogether, a new route, a new page. That's how you create a new page. You start with the route first. Then when the route is defined, you will have a new view altogether. So it will create a view for me. It will create controller for me. So this scaffolding will do everything that is required for this controller to work.
Okay.
It will create
Yeah.
a view folder for me. It will have a default index view for me with just written, and it will create an index
Mm.
function also. So this has created everything. And so you can imagine I will have a new folder for me now also in the view,
Mm.
because controller is
Mm.
a convention, right? The controller name is the view is a folder name. So
Yeah.
I'll just add a new view, which is because I have index functions. I want an index view and I don't want anything else. I want to use a layout page because I want to have that HTML part from top to bottom,
Mm.
right? So I'll
Mm.
use a layout page. By default, it goes to the review start file. So that's fine because that's my default layout page. And I'll create a view and I'll say this phone book records. Now you can imagine that I'll be taking the data out from index. I don't want to show phone book there now. So this div
Mm.
should be taken out from here. That was the phone book div. Remember, there was this div the second div, which is showing the phone book records.
Yeah.
I want it to be in the phone book side. Now, clearly, if I put that, I have to put model to this view also, right?
Mm.
So somehow they pass that model. So I'll be using the same model so that it becomes much easier to understand. So I'll be passing the same model here again. So my using will have the same model. So that means I can do the same code, like I can use the same code again. It just I am having a different page now.
Mm.
And in the phone book controllers, again, you can imagine that in the index function, I have to get the data back, the whole data back, so that I can pass in the view. So I'll use the same code of the home controller. I'm passing the entire data. That's not needed, but right now, just to save time, I'm
Mm.
using the same code again. It's gonna render the only part which is important to him. Other part it can just skip because I'm not doing anything with that part. So I'll just gonna paste it here, and I have to do all those usings because it doesn't have that. It's a new class. You get what I'm trying to do? I'm basically creating a new controller, a whole new page with the
Yeah.
same look and the same feel.
Mm.
Now I have everything is same. It passes the same model to this page. It just that this page is now a phone book page. So it doesn't render everything. It just uses the phone book data and just renders that part. And the
Mm.
index renders just the user list part. Now my control is set, my view is set. It just I have to define like my routing. My routing is very generic. You remember the routing was controller action. So it could work
Yeah.
any controller, any action. So that was very
Mm.
generic. I don't have to create any new route. It just I have to somehow provide navigation on my screen so that I can change it between these two views. So if
Mm.
you go, so you can think about putting an HTML action here, action link. So if I uncomment this part, because this was a good part where it provides navigation. So I'll add home index home, which is correct. So I can just change this to, the users. It should go to the home controller at an index function, and I can change this to phone book, where it should go to index function again, but this time of a phone book controller. Right? That's how you have defined the navigations on your page now. So everything is up. I have a whole controller. I have way to navigate to that controller. My index should provide the data. It should render it back. So my whole life cycle is complete. So whenever you're building the whole new page, you have to think from a life cycle perspective that the routing is going to come, then the controller should be there, then the action should be there, and the action should result some view. So it can be rendered on UI. So once you have once you've written the whole life cycle, then it's going to work. So whenever we write a new route or a new page, we think from a lifestyle perspective that what's going to come and what things are needed. If you miss out a view, then you won't see any view, right?
Yeah.
Miss out a controller, you won't see, we won't be able to get that at particular place. So that's life cycle is quite important.
Okay,
so you see now you have a new action link, users in phone book. I created that right now. Your phone book. Now when I click, and you can see that the phone book record is not here, the phone book thing, because I've removed that part. So if I go to phone book, it should go to phone book controller at a index function. So that was I've written phone book index function. So you can put it, I can put a breakpoint. And whenever I click on phone book, it goes to phone book controller index page. You see phone book controller index page. Because the way that's the route works, that's how the route I've defined in the action link. Nothing is working automatically here, except the part how routes matches the controller. But the way I define it's like configuration. You define configuration, it's gonna work. It's exactly that. I've defined a configuration, it's gonna work. How it's working, it doesn't matter to me, but I know it's gonna hit my controller at my particular function. That's what the frameworks are. Frameworks does something for you, but you need to just know how they are going to work. We don't really worry about how controller is going to map that route. That's not my responsibility. I'm using a framework. If I have to do that, then I have to write everything from scratch. What's the point of using a framework? So if I render that, so you see now phone book has data here. So if I switch back and forth, you realize that I'm using a multi-page convention now. You can see it happening. It's a different page, this is a different page. Yeah. And how it's happening because I'm using a different route with different function. So there are two different. So every page you can think from that side that every page will have a new controller and it will have its corresponding views.
Okay.
So that's like a multi-page thing. And you can see the URL changing. So you can think that's why it's not called a single page application. Because every time I click a new page, I have to reload the whole page and get a new UI. You see the URL changes every time. But this is what not going to happen.
But if you're in the single page case, in that case?
It won't happen like that. Every time I click on a new page, it won't, the URL will still remain the same.
Same.
And the whole UI, you'll see the UI changing because I'm using Ajax calls to get the new UI, but the page will still remain the same. I will be still at the particular home.aspx or some page, but the things inside will be changing asynchronously. I will be going to server, getting new UI, paste it on the UI. But you can think that MVC can't be able to do that. MVC can't do that. MVC has to work on route and controller. So every time I put a click, I have to go to a new page. There's nothing wrong in that. You can think that there's nothing wrong in using a single page over multi-page. There's no drawback possibility. It's just your understanding and your preference. You want to go on a single page because it works. As a user, I don't worry about changing URL, right? I don't care about changing URLs. And even in a single page application, you will have routing. You will have some kind of routing. It's like that. You will have this hash and something going on. So every time I click on different UI, the hash will be appended to help me to go to that particular route. But it's very clean in MVC. You see, you can share your phone book URL and it will eventually go to phone book. So that's a multi-page application. We are not using any kind of web API kind of framework. When a single page application comes into picture, then Ajax calls comes into picture, due to which we need a web API. Because I have to go to server, get that thing asynchronously and paste it on the UI without loading the page.
Yeah.
So that's single page application. So that's why the web API becomes very important in that case. Here I don't need any kind of web API as of now because everything is handled by framework. So now you can think that I can similarly add a create here.
Mm.
So now because I have a new view altogether, so I'll be working on this index view. I don't worry about like whatever the thing I've did here. I can do the same thing here, except I'm working on a phone book site, so I'll be adding a phone book record. I can just add a new div class actions. This time I'm pretty sure I will be adding a new action on a phone book. So you see the breakage helps me to think from a direction that create new phone book, that I'm working on phone book only now. And because I'll be using phone book, so can have the same create function again. I can have the same create function again, except I will be going at a phone book controller now. Right? I won't be going at a home book and home controller again. Because I'm creating a phone book record, I want a new function altogether, a new sort proc to hit. So I'll be using this phone book controller, and again form method will be post. You can skip it out, but just for better understanding. And now you can see the problem happening here that I don't HTML. Is it extra? What's going on? I think I missed something out. Using it is you must be converted to a disposable. You have to like see an exception and think about what it's trying to say. So right now it's saying that type using statement must be explicitly convertible to system and disposable. So the way you handle this kind of error, either you copy this and go to Google and paste it. Somewhere down the line, somewhere must have used Stack Overflow. A guy will be there. Somebody must have seen the same exception, and they will try to help you out. And
Okay.
I'm using the same thing. So I don't know why he's saying me that I disposable thing. Oh, so I'm using action link. That's wrong, right? I have to use begin form. Everything has a reason why it's doing the way it's doing, right? Now the problem I was saying that I don't have a phone book model here. User model has only have the user data thing, right? So how will I create that new thing? So I have to add a new, you can think of adding a new object here now. So user phone book will be new phone book record. You can say something like that. Similarly, you can use this for your you can use this for again for your adding a updating or deleting a new user, right?
Yeah.
And because I'm passing the whole same model, so you can imagine me doing the same thing again. That I'll just go here because I know it's gonna be added now. I'll add HTML dot label for some m dot new phone book record dot. I'll be taking a user ID and I'll be adding an HTML text box for. I'm not worrying anything right now about validations that if it enters a string or something, but we will be looking at that later on. HTML label for I want contact ID also, and HTML dot text box for the same contact ID. And then I'll put just type submit value submit. And you can think of this guy create function coming and filling this particular part, right? So in my phone book controller, I will have a create function again. Public action result create, because I'm creating in a phone book controller. So I have to create a new function now again. I have to define a HTTP post, right? Because it's creating a post function, and I will again have a user model only coming to me because my index is using user model as its own model, right? That's very important because the way you define your model is the way it's going to come back to you. So now I will get the same user model. This time I have to again create a new stored proc. So I'll quickly do that. Create user. This time I say phone book. And I'll just say it because I'll be getting two records. So user ID int, and I'll be getting contact ID, that is also int, and I'll put it into user phone book. That's my table where I have to pass user ID, contact ID, and I'll pass these values. User ID and contact ID, right?
Yeah.
And just basic. Something must have happened. Must declare user ID. Oh, there's a comma missing. That's done. Now I have a new thing here. So I'll just create a new SQL. Now you see the power of Dell Manager. Every time I'm creating a passing a stored proc, I don't worry anything about connection, open, grade. I don't worry. I shouldn't worry about that. That's the thing. That's the thing of having a Dell layer. Some guy somewhere is going to run the whole part for me and I have to just use it. That's why it was very important to create a class library at the very beginning. Manager.execute stored proc, and at this time my proc is create user phone book. Let me just check, capital B, and I'll pass new SQL, new list of SQL parameter, and this will be new SQL parameter, and this will take user ID, and the data dot new phone book record dot user ID is already int, so that's fine. And I will also add a new parameter you can think of is contact ID, right? Data dot new phone book record dot contact ID. Just this thing is executed, so again I have to return redirect to action index, and you can think that this function will again go back to only phone book controller, right? Because I'm inside a phone book controller, I'm just saying go back to my index action. It won't hit my users index action. It won't hit my home controller index action. It will hit just my phone book action, right? So that's how I've defined that thing, and that's the way the whole modeling thing works. The way you define your model, there's ways it comes back, and then you can play around it, use it, and then reload the whole page again. This is the base. Again, you can think of creating an update delete operation on this phone book. So if I go to phone book now, I have this user ID, contact ID. You see the UI is pretty bad, but we don't care about UI right now. We want to see the functionality. I just add I have to add a contact for user, so I add 1, and my contact should be like 3. I don't know. There should be some contact ID with like 4. Just try to do a submit. And I don't think there's any 4 there. Let's check the table once. Select from user phone book, user data. So there's 5 and 6. 1, and that's at 5. Let's do a submit. You see, Abhinav is added as a contact because my LS ID was username 1, and if I let's set 6 1 and also 6. So Bob 2 is added. So the Bob 2 was user ID 6, and I've added 6. So you see, I go back and go forth. The page changes, and automatically my functionality also changes, and it knows where it has to hit. So that's the part of having a multi-page application, of breaking it down. Again, you can think of creating update and delete user and update and delete for this phone book record. It's a very nice activity because it's just exactly same. You think of same functions, same HTML, nothing is going to change here except just I have to use a new proc now. Right? And the last part I want to show you is the partial pages. So that I'll just try to wrap it up. So the last part is that if you see this part is inside my index HTML, but maybe I don't want to use this page will become very big if I add more functionalities, if I keep on adding more functionalities, right? Maybe I want to break it down to smaller pages, and I just add those smaller pages instead of a big page. That is the concept of partial pages. So for partial page, I just add view, and I just create as a partial view. And I'll say this is a create user view. Okay. I add that. I can even choose what model that I want,
Mm.
and I can just right now add that. Now you'll see something really nice happening. It's completely blank, one. And second, that I'll just copy this create new user part, this whole
Mm.
line. I don't want to have like I will connect this page with that page. And here what I can do is I can again use the same using
Mm.
because I want to work on models. But the difference is that I want to use user data now. So how it works is if I do m dot new user. Wait, it was user data. It was user data, right? I'm working create user. It's not updated yet, so it should be m dot users. It should be there should be some kind of problem here. Let me just reopen it. Let's try the model thing. Maybe the UI remembers. Yeah, so now it's working. So maybe even if I do m, it should also work.
Mm.
But sometime IntelliSense, breaks apart, doesn't able to reload on Visual
Mm.
Studio. So it works weirdly. Now it's working fine.
Mm.
So m dot username. So basically what I have did with partial pages for a specific model, I want to work on user data, right? I
Mm.
was mixing user data with user model on some other page, but maybe your page has a big model and it has multiple classes inside it.
Mm.
Then maybe you want to create a page which is specific to that class.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here
Mm.
doing right now. I'm making a page specific to this class only.
Mm.
So now
Mm.
I'm going to add the username and username. Now this page is specifically related to my class. So in my index HTML updated user, you can again think of creating partial pages for them. What I'll do is I'll just add HTML dot partial. That's the way of adding a partial page in a big
Mm.
page. And when you do that, you can see if it asks for a partial view name. So my view name is create user. And you can also pass an object model here because obviously
Mm.
my bigger model has like everything. So I have to pass from that big model to a smaller model, right? So model dot I have to pass a new user. You get what I did right now? In
Yeah.
this big
Mm.
page, I connected a small page and that small page specifically to a particular model.
Mm.
So that way I have reduced the clutter one
Mm.
and I've made this page light. This page won't be very big if I have multiple smaller partial pages. And everything will
Mm.
still work the way it should because this page is indexed inside that page. It's contained inside that page. So my jump from home to create this thing will still work the way it should work. So we can see it
Oh.
in action. But you see how this happens is like my bigger model has like smaller classes inside it. So for every small class, obviously just do for every small class I can think of. Now see, it's saying that the model item passed into this dictionary is of the type model user model, but this dictionary requires a model type model user data. So let's stop it. So this partial page, it says that it requires a different model. And where is this
Mm.
partial page? I have passed user data. I have passed user data. So basically you can think of this error exception as saying that you need to pass a right model to your partial page. You're passing a wrong model. So
Oh.
this is
Mm.
still a user data, but this is trying to say that you are passing a wrong model. You need to pass the
Mm.
right model to your page. I'm passing a right model though. You see, it's user data.
Mm.
That's the create
Mm.
user. That user is using user data. I don't know why he's trying to say that I'm passing a wrong model. Let me just clarify. It's create user data, user, new user. Other object is again user data. So it's the same thing. Let's try to rerun this again. See if we can figure it out. Sometimes this kind of thing can happen. It might not be able to rebuild well,
Mm.
working on a different side altogether. So you can just try to think that everything is working the way it should and then try to run it again. Because according to me, I have defined a partial page, phonebook app models user model. but this dictionary requires some other type of user data. I don't know why it thinks that I'm still passing a user data here. Maybe because I can think of this as in a user model. This is still not clearly defined. You see, I get what the exception is. When you're passing this home controller, I'm not passing any user data here. You see, in my model, that user data is not passed in my model. It was working well before because I'm just using it for reference. Right now, I have to actually pass it somewhere for rendering, right? So
Okay.
then I have to define this new user data, even it just blank, but at least define it so that this guy, the other guy who's using it, should knows that okay, you are using it. You want to you pass it somewhere. So now this is correctly defined. Should work now because my model is not having that. You can think of that the property is missing. It is little bit difficult to debug. You can think of it's difficult to debug in a way that exception can misguide you in some way, but obviously something wrong is going on somewhere. So you see this new view is not my view now. So if I go to inspect, you'll see this is looking exactly same. This is a form now, but this line is appended from a partial view. You see, this was a partial here. So what happens is this line just shows you that automatically pastes this, go to the partial page, gets it out, renders it, and pastes it on the screen. The advantage that we get is we can create specific model-driven views. This is specifically to user data now. So I can nest multiple views inside a big view. And it's gonna work exactly same. If I do submit, it will still hit my same controller. Okay. So my data is blank. New user is blank. One book is blank. Wait. So now you see now the difference is happening because my create is now hitting from a partial page, right? So you can think that this is coming from user data now. Are you trying to understand? Because I'm hitting a home controller with a create function, so it won't be giving me a user model data. It will be now giving me a user data, which is really nice. This is exactly what I want. I want a specific data, right?
Yeah.
Why would I want a whole model altogether? That's how partial pages helps you to get just the right thing in your right function. Because the problem with for us was we have a big model, then we have a small model inside it. So we have to pass the whole bigger model when we are working on that page. But if we create a partial page, then we can just pass what we require. So now that should get pre-filled with the right thing. You see, it just fills me with just what I want. So that's the good thing of it. You can see that's, clearly you can understand that this is now much better than previous because most of the things were blank in that previous object. Now I'm getting just the right thing, what I need for create. I don't need my whole entire model. I just need this, and this can still work and can redirect my page to, Abhinav is added. So that's the idea of partial pages, and you see it cleans out because my user model was having extra thing. It was having this list of phone books, phone book, new phone book record. But I just want to work on this new user.
Yeah.
So I just create a partial page for that. Then I can work around to this user. So every time I hit a form from this, so it knows that you are working on this model. It will pass me that model only in my control. So that thing is cleared out this clearly because I don't need any other classes. I just need this user data, and that's what I get.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we completed this multi-page design, and we worked on partial pages and also at redirection. So basically, we are done with phone book application. The thing that you have to do is you have to again like add the update delete operation. Basically, the first part, add a update user delete user here, and go to phone book, then add update delete user here. So it will be exactly similar. I don't think it will take much time because once you know the short proc, it's just same copy paste of lines. It will help you to understand the whole flow. Once you do that, try to convert this into a partial page.
Okay.
The way I've converted this username to a partial page, try to do that. If you're able to complete this, then you will have completely, like get the whole flow of MVC.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you
Hmm.
trying to understand what the job was? What the task is? You're getting it right?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
You
But
have to first.
yeah, when I'm implementing, I know where I'm going to start. But now when you're saying it's, yes.
It makes sense, right? I
Anyway.
have to, again, do the same thing of update and delete user. Then I have to do
Ah.
the same thing for update and create record and delete create record. And when you are done with that, then only create a partial page.
Yeah, that is the last.
First, right now, just try to implement everything inside index. Then you can think
Mm.
of having a update user and delete user here as a view,
Mm.
as a partial
Yeah.
view. Similarly for phone book,
Got it.
update, record, delete, record.
Yeah.
So first, try to implement everything inside index
Mm.
and then go to that direction, because then in that case, you can see create user just copy paste for me. I just copied that part, paste into a partial view and change the model and change my
Mm.
functions.
Okay.
It just, if you're able to implement this whole thing, then basically you understood the whole MVC flow.
Mm.
And the important part of showing partial view is you need to understand why this model thing is very important.
Mm.
Otherwise, if you don't get it, then you will pass a random thing from to the random function. You need to understand what is exactly passed to that function, because then
Yeah.
only you can crack those interview questions.
Mm.
That's where things get tricky. If we are using a different model and you're passing different thing to the other function, you have to understand why this will break.
Mm.
That's what they might ask, why this will
Yeah.
break. And if you have done it once, then you'll know. Great.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'll send you that mail with this homework
Mm.
listed. I think you
Yeah.
got it what exactly you need to do.
Mm.
And first try to cover up, like catch up with my whole MVC
Mm.
recording, like previous
Mm.
one and this
Mm.
one. Once
Mm.
you're done, you did my part, that what I have done, then only start doing the homework.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Mm.
first at least reach to this application that's running right now.
Mm.
Then your homework will hardly take like an hour
Ah. Mm.
maximum. Because if you have done this part, this hardly nothing, because everything is copy paste from now on.
Mm.
It
Mm.
won't take much time.
Mm.
But reaching here, it's what important.
Mm. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.